Hi everyone, it's Nathara, and today I'm going to be going over the Encore light chase for the mermaid suit. I actually thought I did this one, but I didn't. I did 396, which is 200%ing it, at least for me. Generally that's around 400 pulls. So with that amount of pulls, I was able to get the dress, the handheld, these little paper cranes, all of the wind vanes, the scene. I did not get the furniture for this one. I thought it would look really cool with the zodiac furniture, but the more I look at the tiny little preview of it, it doesn't really match the aesthetic. This looks more like a kids themed space item instead of like that really cool and pretty gold, white, and deep blue aesthetic that the rest of the zodiac pieces are in. So this one just didn't catch my interest, and of course none of the other stuff I really use, so I'm never interested in that anyway. So most of you by now know the mermaid suit, so we don't really need to go too in depth over this part, but I do love this hair. I've always loved this hair. I love like how floaty it is, and the little strands around the face are so pretty. The top, I'm so happy they gave it two variations because it's really over decorated in one of them, and if you ever want to calm it down, it helps. Same thing with the tail, but we've always had the three variations, so I'm happy they did give us another with those. These gloves are super cool. These anklets, I really wish you could turn off the like bubble effect on them, but they are neat. I don't use this thing ever. I don't use this thing ever. I use these wings literally, I have to stop myself from using them so much. I do use these gloves quite a bit too. The ring I don't really use too much. This headband I also don't use too much. I use this facial piece a ton. I actually used it once to make it look like a blood spurt coming out of the side of my head with the facial editor movement. So that's really fun. This thing, I do like the headpiece, but I don't like the fins because they die really awfully. The 5-star suit is cute. The hair I don't use. I'll be honest, I don't use that hair. I do like this little dress though, it's cute. Earrings are super big crystally ones. I love this mask, especially now again with the edits, so you can move it around and everything. The gloves are very simple. I used this like once. I guess the good thing about this is that the necklace matches the earrings. They're both very big, clunky jewel ones, so they're good for if you are trying to go for that opulence. They're a good pair. The socks, I don't use these too much. I don't like the hash pattern on them. I do like the gold like leaf stuff around the ankles though, that's really pretty. The coat, I'm always happy to have that. These shoes are really cute. I like that. Our 4-star suit isn't the most exciting for me. I'm not a big fan of the plaid stuff, which is why I guess I just don't like these. I mean, they're not really plaid, but you get what I'm saying. The hash parts, the earrings are there, and the shoes are there. It's all, I don't know, it's not for me. I like having a phone, but we already have that other phone, but this one just has like a bedazzled little handheld thing. Let's see, our loose 6-star pieces. We got this crown. There is actually a necklace that matches this. We got these earrings. These are so unfamiliar. I know I just don't use them. Oh, the necklace is on the same banner. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, so these are a match. Typically, whenever they do that, they don't put the same two pieces in a same banner. I forgot that these came together. Our loose 5-star pieces, we get a plaid mini dress. This little top, I do like it, but it's denim, so it dies a little funny. A weird fork hair accessory. This necklace is okay. I don't like that they chose to use pearls as the band. This necklace is super simple. Some avocado earrings. I actually don't like avocados. So I don't use those. And then some like little barrettes. I've used these in like the gyaru fits that I've done, or even like the, I guess it's just like the super cutesy outfits. They look really good with that. Our makeup, we get this awesome lipstick. I love that one. Some green contacts. This facial paint, it's a little hard to use because it's very stuck in its aesthetic. This lipstick, Colorless Dream. These contacts, Party Planet. I love these so much. They're so cute. And then these eyebrows, Carnival Time. Not a big fan of these. I don't remember if we got anything down here, but for our ally, we do get, I've got the evolved version right here, but it's Gerald's Sword Breeze. He looks very handsome in this one. So again, here is our ally card for this one. It's Gerald's Sword Breeze. You do get a big pick for his regular one, which is really cool. I like all this blank space over here. It'd actually be pretty cool if you wanted to use this as a wallpaper on your actual computer because of all this blank space over here. I don't know how many people would actually do that, but I mean, it is an option. And then the evolved version right here. Jill looks great. I'm trying to figure out what outfit Miss Ma'am has on over there, but it's a little difficult, but it looks good overall. I really, again, wish that in the story mode, the NPCs and the characters looked like how they do like in the ally cards, because they look so much better in the ally cards, but when you look at them in the story mode and everything, and even in their ally stories, they're just like super flat and boring looking. But for evolving him, you do get these shoes. They love to give us shoes for the ally evolves. And I can't say I've used these because they don't even look familiar. All right, here they are right here. They're like a low heel with a couple of straps on them. They do have 3 die slots, but you do get black and white and a sort of gold in there, so that is nice. They do have different materials. It kind of looks like leather and then that foily stuff. And then of course the base. So your first die slot, a majority of the shoe. Your second is the foil. And your third is that little strap. Nothing too exciting, honestly. And here is our mermaid suit with her intro idol. She does like spawn in on that rock. And then she floats in through here. I can't remember how long this idol is, but I don't think it's too long. Or maybe this is when they started making the intro idols like crazy long. I wish there was an option to turn these off too, because like I don't want to have to sit through this idol the entire time, but it's not bad. Again, I don't use this back seashell thing at all, and the handheld I don't use, but the suit overall is very pretty, and if you are into mermaids, then this is great. But I'm gonna go ahead and go piece by piece with this. I do have it as my home screen outfit, so I'm gonna try not to like actually dye anything and ruin my home screen outfit. All right, so here's our hair by itself. It does float back really far, and it's got like light debris that comes off of it, like these little streaks of glitter and the bubbles. I know a lot of people did not like this hair when it came out because of how much it floats and everything, but as a mermaid outfit, it makes total sense that it should float. I would want a floating hair with this. And so because of those light particles, we do have 3 die slots. Here she is in all white and all black. Our first is going to be that top ombre. Our second is the back ombre. And our third is the light particles. So with the light debris, you cannot starlight them away. You're still going to be able to see them. They just turn black. And here is our mermaid top. Let me actually, it's a little harder to see, especially on the paler dolls, but the mermaid scales do come down quite a bit on the torso, more than I thought. Let me show you now on the paler doll. So you can still see them, but again, it's just harder to see them and how far they go down. And here she is in the first variation. Again, very decorated, lots of like little looping things. I mean, she's gorgeous. I love her. But I also sometimes don't want to be this sort of decorated mermaid. It's good to be able to have a mermaid that might be like, I don't know, a royal mermaid, and have one that's not a royal mermaid, you know, just like a regular one. You know what I'm saying? So she does have 13 die slots. And unfortunately, she isn't not what I would consider fully dyeable anyway, because the most annoying part about this suit is these shells and then these little pieces of gold right here you can't dye, oddly enough, but like that clear coating that's on these shells, and then these little metal bits right here have like an oil effect on them to match the other shells, even though they're not shells, they're metal. But it's best in like lighter colors. So if you're going to be having the shells dyed, I always personally have mine dyed a lighter color just to offset that weird lacquer thing that they put on things. But our first dye slot is part of the scales. Our second is like a hint of color on the scales. You can see it whenever you rotate. Number 3 is also part of the scales. It's really hard. It's like a very, you can sort of see the hint of it right here. It's almost like a light effect over it. Let me turn it white so you can see maybe a little bit better on top of that black. So it's like a casting over the entire thing. Number 4 is also part of your scales, and it's kind of like a weird, but like, it's kind of like a detail work to the scales. It's really pretty. Slot 5. Slot 6 is that ombre. So together. Slot 7, slot 8, slot 9, slot 10, slot 11, slot 12, and slot 13. A very pretty piece. And like I said, the only complaint I have is that the shells have that casing. Besides that, this is a great top. And for our mermaid tail, it does have the same problem with the shells that the top does. And also, this one has 3 variations. I usually keep mine in the skirt, actually, because I think it's really pretty. And I'm so happy they gave us a skirt. And plus, it has like the scales that come down on the legs. I think it's gorgeous. Also, I just really like this crystal part right here. It dyes so pretty. And then our very first one is the regular tail, but it's just more decorated. It has the chains and everything that come all the way down and coral decor on the tail. That's really hard to see and it's hard to dye just because you can't see it. We do have 17 dye slots for this one, so it is quite a lot. And then another complaint I have for the bottom is that these fins don't fully dye. As you can tell, like they stay kind of white, and I really don't like that. Let me turn the seam. So you see how they just stay like this? Like I wish they were fully dyeable, and they're not, because like it's an overlay system with them. So it's hard for me to use these in darker colors because they don't get dark. But she does again look really fabulous in lighter colors when you can't tell that those fins aren't dyeing. So here's our first dye slot. Here's our second dye slot. It's like the ombre on the bottom tail, and it also does like part of the fins out there. And then part of this up here, it's kind of like the scale decor on the fins. Slot 3 is part of the tail again. It's like the overlayer of the scales, and then you have also these like really, no, I'm getting blinded, these big pearly chunks right here, and then some of the jewels. And slot 4 again is part of your tail scales. Slot 5 is your ombre on your tail fin. Slot 6 is the second part of that ombre. Slot 7 is the third part of that ombre, and then we start working on our upper fins up here. Slot 8 is even more of that ombre on the tail fin, and then more up on the hip fins. So it is a little hard to see the ombre on the tail fin. I've got the green, red, light blue, and purple on there, but the 2 middle colors get eaten up quite a bit by the bottom color and the top color, but it is nice to have those touches in there. Number 9 is your like light particles inside of the tail fin. Number 10 are your pearls and part of your seashells. 11 are your jewels. 12 is more of your jewels. 13 is even more of your scales. Maybe this is why. That actually looks pretty cool. It kind of makes her look extra metallic. I kind of like that. But 13 is more of your scales, so maybe because there's 5 dye slots for the tail in this one, it's harder to match it to the top because the top only has 4 for the scales. Slot 14, slot 15, slot 16, and slot 17 are your like light particles, and you have the same as the hair. It's the little dust stream of sparkles and the bubbles. And then for the skirt, I will show this one because it is a little bit different. And if you dye it all black, you can see underneath here, the whole like skirt part, the mini skirt part, has kind of like that oil stuff in it. And you can see it whenever it's all white too. It still has like an overlay coloring to it. Like you can't fully dye it, which is a shame, but it's still really pretty in my opinion. No matter what color I dye it, I think it looks really good. So I don't have an issue with it. Our first, our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, our sixth, and with that ombre, our seventh, our eighth, our ninth, our 10th, our 11th, our 12th, our 13th, our 14th, our 15th, our 16th, And our 17th again is the light particles. Again, not a bad piece. I love that it has variations, and I do like the skirt variation more. This piece would be infinitely better if we could actually dye those fins. And again, if these shells did not have that weird clear lacquer coating over them. For our shoes, she is in perpetual Barbie mode. You're just on your toes. Again, it has the same problem as the rest of the suit. The shells you cannot fully dye because they have that weird lacquer. And also there are these stones. I forgot about these because I just don't use these shoes too much. Let me see if we can starlight those sparkles. We can, so they can be black instead of gray, which is cool. You can be like a mermaid from the void. Dye slot 1, dye slot 2, dye slot 3, dye slot 4, dye slot 5, and dye slot 6. And there's a little gem on the back ankle as well. I forgot to show that. But these shoes would be way better if they were fully dyeable. Which brings us into our hat piece. Again, she is not fully dyeable, but she looks great in all white. Dye slot 1, dye slot 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And here's our hair accessory by itself. If you do not have the hair on, and if you do have the hair on, it does come down into the hair like with its strands and everything, but you can scale them up, so that's really good. They can get pretty big, but they do move away from the head whenever you do that, like how hair pieces normally do. So, I mean, you can work with it. You can always move them back in as well. I have actually dropped them down and used them sort of successfully as wings before, but not too successfully. Now, like the mermaid fins, I do not like the fins on this hair accessory. I do not use them because I cannot dye them. These are even more undyeable than the fins on the tail. But again, they're fine in the lighter colors, but I don't use light colors all that often. So here's our first, our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, our sixth, our seventh, and our 8th is actually really hard to see, but you see these like little jiggling dots? It's those things. And our facial accessory, I actually use this a butt ton. It's my, like one of my go-to facial accessory pieces. And here she is all white. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and slot 4. Definitely one of my favorite pieces from the suit. I use it so much and I can use it in a lot of different outfits. And there's no shells on it, so there's none of that weird casting that the rest of the suit has. Our bracelets are two-sided, and they are just mirrored, so I will just focus in on one hand right here. They do look really cool. It has the same effect that the skirt does when you have the tail into the skirt form. Here she is in all black and all white. Dye slot 1, dye slot 2, dye slot 3, and dye slot 4. And our glove scales. These are so pretty, and I've used these not only in mermaid stuff, but also when I'm just trying to be a monster girl or a snake girl, you know. They work for a variety of things. Here they are in all black and all white. So you can see all of that glitter that is still on the arm. It is like a purpley pink glitter. Our first dye slot, our second, and our third is kind of like that tint again. Again, it's harder to match these to the tail and the top because this one only has 3 dye slots, the top has 4, and the skirt has 5 for the scales. So because there's such a variation between the dye slots, it's just difficult. For a direct match anyway, you can get them all close enough, don't get me wrong, but it would be nice to make them a direct match to one another. And here's our ring. Well, it's 2 rings really, but it is on the right hand. All black, all white, our first dye slot, our second, and our third. And here's our handheld. It is super kind of like undyeable if you consider it because it's covered in the like lacquer and oil color, but again, light colors, it's gonna shine here. Dye slot 1 is your shell. Dye slot 2, dye slot 3, dye slot 4, dye slot 5, dye slot 6, and dye slot 7 are your light particles. And here are our wings. What I like about these is that they don't have that weird thing that the rest of the fins on the suit do. You can actually fully dye these, and there's no like weird overlays, our first dye slot, our second, and with that ombre, our third, and our fourth, and again with that ombre, and then our fifth is the light particles that go throughout. Another one of my favorite pieces from this suit, just because it dyes the best. And lastly, we have our floating seashell. So here she is dyed all black. She's got the same problem as the handheld. All of the crystals and the oil slick shell. Oh wait, I've never noticed before. The little light particles are little jellyfish. That's actually really cute, but it doesn't make me want to use it. And all white. Dye slot 1, dye slot 2, dye slot 3, dye slot 4, dye slot 5, dye slot 6, and dye slot 7. I really hope other people can use this piece more often than I can. You can, of course, move it around and everything. I just don't like the way it dyes. The way the shell itself dyes, and because it's such an important part of the thing, like I'd love to be able to dye it fully black, like actually true black, and have the like coral pieces be gold. I think that would be so pretty, but because it dyes with that color inlay, overlay, whatever you want to call it, it's too hard for me to use, and I don't want to make an outfit to match it. So again, my main complaint with this suit is the limiting factor with the dye slots and the parts of it that you can dye. All those shells, it can take you out of it, you know? I think it could have been done way better. I don't know why they chose to make some of those dye slots overlays like that. It's just so weird, and I wish they would stop putting that lacquer or that casting or whatever that is that they put on some of the jewels and everything. I cannot stand it. It looks so bad, and I just don't know why. I don't know what it's supposed to replicate in real life, because I've never seen a piece of jewelry that looked like that ever, and if I have, I've blocked it out of my memory because I probably thought it was just ugly, you know? So I mean, it could have been better. It could still be better. Maybe they'll fix it one day, maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't, and we'll have to see. But what I do hope for is that they give us more fantasy suits where they take out like part of our body and replace it with an animal body. Like if they ever get, I know this might be a little weird, but it would be cool to have like a centaur body. I also want just like a big snake tail to become a naga. I think that would be sick. I mean, they already gave us like the fawn legs, I guess, so that's kind of there, but it would be cooler if it was more than just like knee down. Also like harpy legs or harpy arms, you know what I'm saying? Like not full on like wings in the wing category, but they turned your arms into like feathery things. I've got hope, some hope, like an ounce of hope that LM might do something like that, because I feel like if any of the dress up games that I've ever seen was gonna do it, it would be LM, because they are just a little bit out there for that. So I don't know, my fingers are crossed, you know? If you guys wanted to implement another half-human body part, or not a half, like a half monster, a half mythical creature, what would it be? I'm curious to know, because I know what I would like. What would you guys like? Alright, and here's our Dream Feaster outfit. I do have this one dyed in some ways, and then I didn't feel like resetting it fully, but I do really like this dress. I know, again, a lot of people don't like it. I'm not sure why. I think it's the collar. A lot of people can't deal with that collar, but I think it's pretty interesting, and it looks really good with the short hairs. And speaking of our short hair, she is really cute, and she's got 2 dye slots. The top half, and then clearly the bottom ombre, which is actually really nice. And here's our dress. She does only have 5 dye slots, and she's not fully dyeable. You can see there is a fair amount of gold glitter, and then this embroidery right here, you can't dye. Or maybe you can dye it, but because the light hits it, it doesn't look like it dyes. I don't know, it's strange. Here's our first dye slot, our second, and with that ombre, it is so pretty. Our third, you can see a bit of the orange on that like top bodice part. Our fourth, and our fifth. So, not the most versatile dress. I feel like they really could have dyed this thing better or given us better dye slots for it. As for our coat, she does only have 2 dye slots, and again, she's not really fully dyeable, at least not what I could consider fully dyeable, because of all this like big chunky glitter. If you wanted to dye it a darker color, you can still see that, and it might mesh badly with whatever outfit you are using. Our first dye slot is right here, and it also does the light particles. And our second dye slot is that bottom ombre, so together they look like this, and it's so pretty. I love it. And again, here are our socks. We do have 3 dye slots for these ones. I really like the bottom detail, and if it did not have this like really big hatching on it, I would love these socks so much more. But here's our first dye slot, our second, and our third. And here's our shoes. These do have a bit of a weird like effect on the like I guess pearls that are on them, but only when you dye them dark. Our first dye slot, our second, and our third. And here's our facial accessory, Unspeakable Phantom. The sparkles are there. Let me see if you can starlight those. I can't remember, to be honest. Okay, they do just turn black. Our first dye slot, our second, our third, our fourth, and our fifth. And she can be rotated and scaled up and down. Our earrings only have 2 dye slots. The first is like the gems and dye slot 2. So I guess that's another reason why I don't use these earrings too much, is because they don't actually dye what color they're supposed to be dyeing. It's just like the 2 big gems are dyeing lighter, and that is not good for me. And here's our big chunky necklace. Dye slot 1, that's what it is, because they don't dye to match the necklace. So even though they're a perfect match for another, they don't dye the same, so they don't look like they're meant to match. Our second and our third dye slot. And here's our gloves. They also only have 2 dye slots. The first is your base, and the second is the gems. Next we have our little golden apple handbag. It is fully dyeable with no overlays. Our first dye slot, our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, our sixth, our seventh, our eighth. I just want to say that it's kind of funny that they gave this thing so many dye slots when it really only needed 2, at least for me personally. Well, maybe 3. All of the metal, the jewels, and then the sparkles. Like, they could have given all these dye slots to the dress and I would have appreciated it way more, but because it's apples fully metal, I'm just gonna have it all dyed the same color. But that's everything for the 5-star suit. Again, I do like this one, but there are pieces that I use more often than others for sure. Alright, so again, I use like half this suit and I don't touch the other half. That's just how it is for me. And here's our 4-star suit, Plaid Treat. I truly just do not use this one. Nothing about it really stands out for me. I think I've used the headband once, that's why it's dyed pink, but I can't remember what I used it for. I know I've used the handheld though, but everything else I haven't touched. The dress only has 2 dye slots. The first and then your second are the buttons and buckles. Your shoes also only have 2 dye slots. The base and then also your buckles and your buttons and the heels. Your headband, same thing, 2 dye slots, the base, and then your buttons. Your earrings, 2 slots again, your base, and then your metalwork. And for our phone, we actually get the most dye slots on this one. You get 3, your first, your second, and your third. Now for our loose 6-star items, I do actually have my crown scaled up and moved around because I was using it in an angel fit. So I'm just gonna leave it like that because I don't feel like resetting it. Actually, I can just show you. Boop, there it is right there. I have actually extended this piece. I do like it a lot. I needed the gold, the black, and the red because I think it's so pretty. Our first die slot, our second, our third, and our fourth. And again, it does have a necklace that goes with it, or at least they are similar enough. And there's actually even bracelets that go with this. This one has 3 die slots, your first, your second, and your third. And here is the sparrow earrings. They're not fully dyeable. They do have a lot of like weird coating on them and everything. But here's your first die slot, your second, and your third. And here's our hidden butterfly loose 5-star dress. Here she is in all black and all white. Our first die slot, our second, our third, our fourth, and our fifth. So I do like that you can get rid of the plaid pattern. If you don't like it, I mean, you can still sort of see it just a little bit, but you can almost make it disappear. I unfortunately just don't like this dress as a whole. It's just not my style. And here's our top quiet orchid. Again, it is that denim pattern, so you're not going to be able to dye it too true to whatever you want it to. And it has this white stitching that you can't get rid of, which I don't like, but everything else on it you can dye. So your first is going to be that denim base, and then your second is going to be that little metal flower pearl thing up there. For our hair accessory Baby Bite, it's got 2 die slots, the first and the second. So it's another utensil hair accessory. Great fun. This one actually looks more like a salad fork than a regular fork. And here's our daybreak necklace. Again, I just don't like the string of pearls with this. I think it should have been a gold chain instead. Here she is all black and all white. Our first die slot, our second, and our third. And here is our other necklace locked hostage. Here she is in all black. There's some like white glitter on there that you cannot get rid of. Our first die slot, our second, and our third. And our avocado slice earrings in all black and all white. First die slot, second, and your third. And here's our hair accessory floral tie. It has 2 die slots, the little plasticky bits, and then the second is going to be this tiny little piece of chain over here. Now it doesn't wiggle. I kind of thought it would, but it's very still. But you can size them both up and move them around however you like. Same thing goes with that fork piece. And here's our Island Glow dress. She's gorgeous, she's stunning, she's everything I love and look for in a dress. I usually have her in white and gold or in black and gold. But here she is in all black, and there's the reason why I have it dyed a paler color, because the shells have that silly little lacquer thing, wheel slick, whatever you want to call it. It has that effect on it, and I know some people do not like that. It's also down here on these little arrows. I don't know what to call those. And here she is in all white. Our first die slot. It actually is this ribbon on the back too that comes down, and even a bit of trim on the slit. Our second, our third, and with that ombre. Our fourth is all the jewels, and then a bit on the bodice. Our fifth, and our sixth. I'm very pleased with this dress. It is so pretty. It's just gorgeous. And here is our handheld donut harvest. I don't really use this thing too often. It is mostly just for beachy fits. It's not fully dyeable. You can't dye those little hearts there. That's a shame, but I mean, it's okay because I don't use it enough for it to bother me like that. And plus it does usually fit the like girly aesthetic that I'm looking for anyway. Our first die slot, our second, and with that ombre, our third, and our fourth. And here are our paper cranes. Pretty cute. They do like flop around a lot. There's 3 die slots. Here they are in all black and all white. Our first die slot, our second, and our third. a pretty cute piece. They're a little limited. I just don't have too many outfits where I use these. It's just like the handheld, the summer one, the beach ring. There's not too many outfits they can go with, so I just don't use them all that often. I definitely, out of the decom clothing items, I use the dress the most. And here is our scene, Nostalgia in Past. This one is really cool. I love the aesthetic of it. I actually have used this one more than just like this little area, because you can like come up here and be around this other furniture. I've been up on that balcony over there. It's just really nice. I've got wide cam on, so it's like super distorting how everything looks, but I love all of the clutter in here. It looks so good. There's like, even some of these are like the home accessories that we have, which is why whenever I get kind of upset because they don't give us half of these accessories to use in home mode. Like, I know they're 3D assets. Like this laptop here, we could have that in home. That lamp, these butterfly pictures, this, oh, look at that, that half skull thing right there. These books, that picture of that dinosaur, which is also in that one blue room, I think, the blue scene. It's like underneath the window. So I know that they keep using this specific 3D asset. Plus, look at all these books over here. I want these in home mode. Sorry, I don't mean to make this a rant about home mode. Also, this plant. I want this plant. I want this giant T-Rex. Okay, anyway, I am going off. Let me reel myself back in. Yeah, I like the scene and I like the items in it. It definitely makes it feel more realistic almost, except for that bench that's on that piece of wood. I don't really get that too much, but I don't think most people would even notice that. That's a really weird thing to even notice to begin with. You do have your standard sink. So if you wanted to like be in one of the seated poses, you can sit on this little table that's over here. I've had my doll sitting on this before. The posable area is also quite large. You can see me outside the window out there. And let me see, I can't do the big square again because you cannot see, but she can go quite far out there. Not that you really would need to, because there isn't too much out there besides, I think, like the regular like still trees that they like to do anyway. So like, it's just like really ugly out here. So I don't recommend going out here. It's the same thing with on this side of the building. Like, you can see that it's just like a really stretched out picture out there. So yeah, no going outside. The room is definitely set up just for in here, or at least the space is set up just for this room inside of here. You can go up really high, but it's like super bright. Here's the front of the scene, by the way. It's again, it's really not the best, but you can come out here. However, the lighting, in case you could not tell by the look of it, it's very, very bright out here, because I think it's meant to, because you have so much sun coming in from this part, and they wanted to make it have that like daydreamy effect almost, and it just gives it that old-timey, antique-ish look. I think that's what they're going for anyway, or at least that's the vibe I'm getting from it. But you can be all up inside of this scene because the posable area is so big, and the lighting looks good on both the darker and the paler doll. So I've got no complaints. There's no harsh light or anything that hits them. And even when you play with the filters, I mean, of course, if you push the filters, you are going to be losing detail and everything, especially if you have them up near the sunlight up there, because this scene is very bright up towards the window and everything. But overall, I really like the lighting in this scene. It's pretty neutral. And if you scoot your doll, you just go straight back. Let me speed it up just a little bit. You go straight back and you can see a little bit. You're gonna hit through like different light things, but there's one right here that does that like cool, almost metallic effect that I really like. So it's pretty neat, and you can definitely play with it to get different effects. Again, the only problem with using the balcony up here, it's hard to use this area because the light itself is like physically there. So you like pop in and out of it. It doesn't just like naturally cascade on you, you know, like it's weird. It's like a veil almost. However, you can come over here and use this part of the balcony. I have used this one, I think, with this pose right here, Cozy Afternoon. Now if I click this, it's going to send me all the way back down. Oh, it didn't. Okay, awesome. I thought it was going to send me all the way back down, but you can change the height of it. I mean, if you're not moving like super fast, like a crazy person, but you can have the effect where you're just like leaning on this banister, scoot in so you can't see that her legs are sticking through the thing. And you know, I just think it's really cute, you know? Aside from that, there's a bunch of different 3D assets in here that you can pose around. It's definitely good for like researchers, botanists, museum people. I can't remember all the different curators, archivists, you know, it's great for that. And here's our contacts, City of Jade. They're actually a little hard to tell, at least with my doll, because I have my eyes raised a lot. I don't know how many people actually do that, but you can't really see the green part, at least on my doll. And the bottom part actually looks like the realistic iris a little bit, so you can almost make it look like zombie contacts. Maybe a little bit, maybe I'm stretching it with that one, I don't know. And here's our contacts Party Planet. They do have a lot of decals inside of them that are very like game orientated, sorry, but they're super cute, super fun, and I really do like them. They're also animated. These stars just shoot out from the pupil, which is super cute. And here's our facial paint Unmanned Zone. I just don't use this one too often. I don't know, maybe I just need to move it around. Let me see what it looks like when it stretches. I might be able to use other parts, maybe. I just actually, I might be able to use this streak right here if I can. Can I get it to go over anymore? I might be able to use it for that. Right there. I think that would be cool. And here it is on the palest and darkest shade. And here's the eyebrows, Carnival Time. I just don't use these because it has that purple highlight underneath the eyebrow. I don't like it. It's good for rave fits though. I don't use that aesthetic too much, so I just don't use these eyebrows all that much. And here's our lipstick Survivor Song. She does come in 4 shades: red, grayish color, orange, and this pink, though it still has a very dark undertone into it. It's kind of the color that you pick as an, I almost want to say it's an overlay, but you can also overlay that overlay because there is like a deep base that's just perpetually there. Here's our first shade dyed all the way up and all the way down, second down, and all the way up, third up, and all the way down, fourth down, and all the way up. So with the darker doll, you do have this like whiter outline to it that I don't like, so I only ever use this on my mid-tone to lighter dolls, just because I don't like the casting that it does on the outside. And on the corners of the lip, it's really noticeable. It just doesn't look good. And here's our lipstick Colorless Dream. It kind of gives that chapped look really well. So it's nice to have if you needed to dress up in that theme or you need a chapped lip for something. It does come in 4 shades. That neutral brown, this muted pink, this, I mean, it matches my doll's tone really nicely. And then this blue, which is the most vibrant out of all of the 4 colors. And of course you can overlay or not. Here's the first shade all the way up and all the way down, second shade down and all the way up, third shade up and all the way down, fourth shade down and all the way up. Again, this is another one of the lipsticks that I only use on my midtones, not even like my midtone unless I have it turned all the way down on 0, but this is definitely better used on the paler dolls. That is everything I have for the Mermaid Light Chase. I do hope you found this useful and helpful, or at least, you know, entertaining to watch if you already have the entire suit, to see if any of our thoughts align on the suit as a whole and how they might be able to improve it and stuff, you know. But that is all I have again, so I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!